Back for the finals. We won the die roll, and we have quite a nice hand with Repeal and Ice to control the early game, Memory Lapse as well, Engineered Explosives. I don't know what I'm playing against, but I'm not mulliganing this. Once again, the decision what to do with Tolaria West, but we already have the explosives, and we don't have that many lands yet, so I don't think I want to get Academy Ruins. I just want to play it as my first land. And well, yeah, our hand certainly has to develop, and it would help to draw some cards. I could ice one of his lands, depending on what he does. It's rather unlikely that I draw something great, or that I draw the red land to actually cast ice, which would be pretty good to deal with Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf is a card which isn't a big threat, but I'm going to have to handle it at some point. So I'm actually thinking of just counterspelling right there, but that might not be the right call. No, I'm just going to let it resolve. It's only a 0/1, so also not going to cast any of my spells because I don't want to make it bigger. It would have probably been correct to just ice one of his lands in his upkeep. Wake Thrasher. Okay. Wasteland. That's a nice card. However, it has the problem of making his Tarmogoyf larger. Other than that, it's a pretty nice card, though. I think I'm going to play it and then see what he does. I could repeal now, because I don't want to take too much damage. I actually do want to ice the Wake Thrasher. That's what I really want to do. So if he counters that, I can't really change it. Him playing the Held Fountain untapped also gives me the chance to wasteland it right now. But with Memory Lapse in hand, I don't really need to do it. Okay, so he doesn't do anything. Redrew Stoneforge Mystic, which is also quite good. So we do need to get rid of the Wake Thrasher at some point, but if he doesn't tap his lands, it's really not a big deal. So I don't want him to have some kind of counterspell up, so I might want to just get rid of his Held Fountain now, or in my upkeep maybe. I can see what I draw first and then decide based on that. So I do want the Stoneforge Mystic. I don't want to get counterspelled in some way or the other. So if I wasteland his Hallowed Fountain, the Tarmogoyf is going to grow, which would make Engineered Explosives a nice card to play. But I do want to get the Stoneforge Mystic into play first, I think. So let's just destroy the Hallowed Fountain first. And now this hopefully resolves, getting us the jitter we need to deal with the Wake Thrasher. Okay, Mortarpod would have done the same, I suppose. He's just tapping his land so that Wake Thrasher grows. Maybe I underestimated the power of Wake Thrasher. It's possible that I'm losing to this card alone, which wouldn't be very good. This turn is really crucial. It depends on if he leaves something back or not, and how he proceeds with the game. So this is actually quite good for me, because now I can play my Lapse or the counterspell. And I think I do want to counterspell this. Can't really afford to have him keep all his good cards. And that's an interesting attack. I certainly don't agree with it. It's he knows I have the Jitte in hand, so it just gives me a way to kill his Wake Thrasher for basically no cost. So he has to keep back his Tarmogoyf. Okay, that worked out quite well. I still have the problem that I have the explosives, and I now don't want to use it on 2. But depending on what he does, I might still do it. Riftwing Cloudscape. Okay. Returning Stoneforge Mystic is a little bit of a double-edged sword, I suppose. Now, I could drop the Freed, but I have no way to equip it. Well, I have no way to equip it and keep on one of my spells, so I could also get Mystic and Jitte active, and then I would still have the mana. Yeah, that sounds much better. So this gives me the option to get either Mortar Pot or Sword of Fire and Ice. And I'm going to take Sword of Fire and Ice, also because I don't want to give away that I have another counter spell in hand. Of course, he could use Reshaden Port to tap me out of blue first, but who knows what's going to happen. Once again, he really can't attack with Tarmogoyf here. And he's keeping back the Cloudscape. Okay, there's something is up, but I'm just going to block. Oh. Okay, that was a misclick, and a pretty bad one. Of course, I wanted to give this creature +2/+2. Yeah, well, can't change it. So this makes a big difference, of course. The Tarmogoyf would have been dead, and would have been much better for me. So now he's probably going to tap a Plains. And I'm going to try to resolve one of these. Cryptic Command. Mystic Snake. Yeah, that's a good memory lapse target. The Mystic was really unfortunate because I don't know if he has anything else, but it looked like I was getting to kill his Tarmogoyf at basically no cost, once again. Like similar to me killing the Wake Thrasher. And then I clicked on the wrong option for the Jitte. So, yeah, that was bad. Now I'm taking damage from Tarmogoyf as well. And he recharged. So, yeah, I probably threw this away. Vedalken Shackles. That's interesting. Now, power less than or equal to the number of islands, and he has 3 islands. That's easy enough. So, I'm basically at 8 life. He deals 7. It's actually possible that I can just go aggressive here. If I play Sword of Fire and Ice and equip, he isn't blocking. And I deal quite a lot of damage, so that sounds good. Now, do I want to deal extra damage? I'm dealing 5, I could deal 9 here, but I think I'm dealing the same amount of damage either way, so I think I'm going to kill the Cloudskate, draw another card, and pass the turn. Now, of course, I'm going to be forced to gain some life, because I don't want to die to Tarmogoyf, but after that it's going to be quite okay, I think. This has 3 charge counters, so it's not quite lethal. But he just concedes, okay. Yeah, that's the power of Umezawa's Jitte. It's really insane. And we do know that he has shackles, and he has quite a nice deck, definitely nice deck. Us not playing very great was not helping either, I have to admit. So drawing cards is one thing against his kind of deck, but it might actually not what we want to do. So I think the disc could help us to get rid of his shackles. We don't have that many creatures, but if he gets shackles active, we are almost dead if we don't have an overwhelming advantage. So I would like to have the disc against his deck, also because he's playing out quite a lot of stuff. So disc is probably in, which means my lands are also going to stay in. Apocryphite, maybe not the greatest card. Route is good. I do want the wall. I want against Tarmogoyf, I want all the good blockers. And Fire Ice is only good if I manage to draw Sulfur Falls, really, and then it's still not the greatest. So on the draw, maybe Fire Ice is actually a little bit too weak. We do have to remember that he has the Counter Spell Snake, Mystic Snake, or whatever it's called. I would want Opportunity, but I think it's going to be the game is too much tempo based to do that. I like Engineered Explosives, so I'm going to cut this and keep in the Apocryphite. It's another creature and I need some creatures. Now the disc, and we are good to go. He's probably going to play first, yes. We do have no white lands, but we have a Preordain and a powerful hand, so I'm not mulliganing this. Here I'm just going to lead with Preordain, then if I find a plains, I can drop a turn 2 Stoneforge Mystic. Now that I already have the plains, I'm just going to go with the Tolaria West instead. That means I can dig for the right cards later on with Preordain. Maybe the second plains, but maybe also more powerful cards. Now, once again, we have the dilemma between these two cards. And I think just dropping the explosives and going for explosives Preordain next turn is the stronger play. Last time we saw how much pressure, under how much pressure Tarmogoyf put us, and I don't really want to repeat this. Especially if he has a card like this. Wasteland doesn't have a target right now, but we can just Preordain. And we do need another plane, so I'm actually going to keep both of these. Route and Gideon are great in combination, so this is a good Preordain. And we can drop the land, and we have to explosive now, so that the Rake Thrasher doesn't trigger an additional time. Next turn we can drop Stoneforge and Jitte or just cast Factor Fiction. Whoa. That's a beating. So I think we need the blocker here. And we might not even get it, so it's possible that he bounces it. I'm actually going to get the Mortar Pot, now that I think about it. Killing Wake Thrasher has to be very good for me. Even though I have the Mask Removal in hand, with these cards, I need all the tempo advantage I can get. Okay, this is also interesting. Thran is not something I can deal with very easily, but I can route next turn, so going to block here and then clear the board before he's able to regenerate. And hopefully our control elements are going to be stronger than the 2 cards he has in hand. I'm also not really afraid of Shackles at this point. Of course, this is a good card, but with a Gideon, you don't have to be afraid. He could Shackles the Mother of Runes, not that I've played it, but it's still a powerful card, so. Now, of course, we just want to get as much value out of the Gideon as possible, so we just play it like this. And simply because he does have the Shackles in his deck, we're going to equip the Ifrit as well. We could have forced his creatures to attack again, but it's now we really just want to make sure that we don't lose to some kind of spell that deals with Gideon and then does some other stuff. So I don't know if that made much sense, but we still had Drugstore Reaver and Factor Fiction when he conceded, and that was largely due to Gideon, but also the right combination of card draw, control elements, card advantage, spells, and everything else. We managed to deal with everything he had. So I believe it's possible that he could have mana-warred his own Manowar before bouncing our Mother and gotten back Vengevine. But it seems like this opponent, and also in general the opponents in Cube Draft, are not the best, but as we've seen, the complexity is so high that I made several large mistakes, and also like at least one misclick. So maybe my opponents are suffering from the same problems. I hope you like this Cube Draft, something a little different, much more like constructed than limited, and I think you saw my philosophy. I think if you want to condense it to one sentence, I try to mirror successful constructed decks as closely as possible, and cards like Balance or Yavgmoth's Will or whatever are some of the most broken constructed cards ever printed, but that doesn't mean you should just put them into your decks. You really have to build a deck which is as streamlined as possible, and just like if you would construct a 60 card deck, you would ask yourself how many lands, how many early permission spells, how many removal spells, how many late game spells do I need? And this is really what drafting Cube is all about, in my opinion. So I hope you enjoyed this Cube Draft, and see you next time. This was Simon Gertzen recording for mtgocademy.com.